Yes, sir. Very good morning to you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Karibu sana. It is Wednesday. When it's Wednesday, you know, we talk about matters health and fitness and nutrition. And today, well, it's the holidays, December 1st. It is the ultimate, inaitwa nini, ile bell imesha ring sasa ya final lap of the year. And that means that kutakuwa na sherehe bin sherehe. Everybody is partying, but people have been partying, but they've just been doing it at least at home. Saizi, it's a different December. The first one after about 7 weeks ya kufungwa. At least vitu zimefunguliwa. Uhuru jana pia akasema tafadhali President Uhuru akasema usitufungie tafadhali. So things are open, people are getting vaccinated, and people are bound to engage in enjoyment, so to speak. And one of the major things is, of course, alcohol intake. But how much is too much? What does it do to your body, your system, your liver, and everything else? We want to talk about that and probably help you so that at least ukienda huko ukisherekea urudi Januari ikifika tuku-count hata wewe. To help us with that, we have Dr. Waroi who joins us. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much.
Yes, and Dr. Felix, welcome as well.
Shukran.
Yes, ulikuwa hapa last week. Uko sawa since we last met.
Happy to see you.
Happy to see you too.
It reminds me I'm still alive.
Yes, it is good. So I also asked you a few questions, and earlier on my Facebook I did post if people have questions about alcohol, and I can see already there's some of you are very interesting. Anyway, mwingine anasema ati na nikipiga kakota flash. Anyway, we'll talk about that and a little bit more. So maybe we'll start with you, Dr. Waroi, in terms of alcohol and the liver. What is the relation, and why should people take precaution?
Alcohol is a alcohol is a toxin. So when you mention alcohol, it's a toxin to the liver. So with alcohol, there's normally the required intake that you're supposed to take, or the standard intake. So and it's normally divided in gender. So for a female, the required intake in a week is 14 units, and that of a male is 21 units. Okay. Yeah, so once you go up over and above the required units, then now you go into the pathological aspect of liver disease. So you enter into alcoholic liver disease. So there's normally the standard intake that you're supposed to take, and if you go over and above that, now you enter into the spectrum of liver diseases, the liver cirrhosis, the alcoholic fatty liver, and all that. So
the 14 and the 21,
yes.
It is regardless of age, I mean, okay, over 18.
Over 18.
Yeah, over 18. It's regardless of body size, I guess.
Mostly, yes, over 18. Body size, yes, does matter. And another aspect of it is the lean body mass. So we find that in female, actually, the intake is lower, 14 units, because we tend to have a lower lean body mass, and also our fat content is much more, and our water body, the total water body of female is less. So meaning that the dilution of alcohol is less in females. So that's why the unit is a bit reduced in females.
Right. And so for males, ni kubugia.
Yes.
Okay. So then, when you're, of course, everybody's gonna go out there and I guess I'll start first by, is alcohol the only thing that will affect the liver? Useme jamaa issue ni ya pombe.
There are so many things that can affect the liver. There are infections, parasites, and then apart from that, different chemicals, medical condition that can worsen the liver itself, and so many more. So it's not only alcohol that will affect the liver. Yes.
But when it comes to now, we are told that first of all, kabla uende ukunywe, lazima ukule kwanza.
Okay. Yeah. Now let me talk of digestion of alcohol. Now alcohol has a component called ethanol and some methanol. Okay. Now when it goes to the stomach, about 25% of it is absorbed in the stomach. But the metabolism, what makes it ready for the body to uptake it, happens in the liver. So the liver has different function. Uptake of nutrients and several vitamin metabolism them, and then removal of toxins in the body. Apart from that, controlling several body hormones and so many more. So one of it is uptake of nutrients and detoxifying the chemicals, and alcohol is also being metabolized in the liver. So about 90 to 98% of alcohol is metabolized in the liver. About 2 to 10% is now excreted and metabolized, but 90 to 98% is metabolized in the liver. Now, when alcohol gets in the liver produces an enzyme called alcohol dehydrogenase. Alcohol dehydrogenase. So this alcohol dehydrogenase then will transfer ethanol to something called acetaldehyde.
Oh, wow, okay.
Then there will be another hormone again called acetaldehyde dehydrogenase that now converts the acetaldehyde to acetate, then which will later be converted to carbon dioxide and water, which will remove to your system. And this is why when it moves to your system, remember to go through your bloodstream. So, and that's why those who are heavier, bigger, with fat tissues, tend not to get drunk as quick as those who are thinner.
Samaki.
Yes, yes. Because yes, the people who have fat tissues, they don't have much of water component in their fat to remove these alcohol components. So this will go later to your heart and then pump to your lungs, and that's why you get, after taking alcohol, you tend to breathe much of the, you exhale the byproducts of alcohol, and some of it also move to your skin. That's why some people smell alcohol, and some of it, the excretion can be on the skin through sweat, and then the stomach, and everything.
So if you get to the place where you smell alcohol,
yes, you're intoxicated, you've taken a lot of it.
Yes.
So it can go to your skin and then to your kidney later. So you see, most people with alcohol, I'll answer your question, they tend to urinate more. So it reduces an hormone called vasopressor. Yes, vasopressor. So you get that this is an hormone that controls the fluids that go to your kidneys. So it tends to affect it by controlling urination, so that you urinate too much of it. Now, why is it advisable to, before you take alcohol, to take food? Your question now. You get that digestion, when you take it food, it slows the amount of uptake. So uptake will be slower, and this won't overwork the liver and of other organs. Apart from that, on an empty stomach, it also tends to irritate the stomach lining, and this can lead to some other effects, and that's why you get people who are alcoholic for a long time also have the reflux, the acidity, and the blood in stool, diarrhea, and so much, because it irritates your gastric tract, digestion tract also. So, and that's why we advise, do not go drink alcohol on empty stomach, so that it tends to reduce the digestion and the metabolism, so that it doesn't affect you so much.
Yeah, there's so much also in terms of food, because now again we'll be told not to do it to the empty stomach. Alafu tena sasa kukula nyama mingi tena na kunywa pombe tena ni shida. Yeah, but we're gonna talk about that as well. So what is the process that goes through? Sasa mtu ajue, okay, sasa niko tipsy, niko high, like it's now too much. Is it when you go over the units you're talking about? Or,
yes, when you go over the units you're talking about. Yes, so when you go over and above the required standard units, and you know it's different in an individual, given that we all have different lean body masses, the fat content is different, the water quantity in each person is different. So for each person, you may find that someone can take even just 10 units of alcohol, and that is enough to make them tipsy, or what you're mentioning. Yeah, so but the standard is the 14. So anything above 14 for a female and anything above 21 for a male will now, yes.
So this would be like in terms
but that's for over a span of a week,
Well, that's for a week.
That's for a week.
Maybe to answer that.
I thought it's one sitting.
So what is required for a week is 14 units for a lady in a week. Okay. Yeah, that's the standard.
So that is like what, a glass of wine every day? So
now when you go into the calculation bit, 1 unit. 1 unit is calculated in terms of the alcohol by volume. Alcohol by volume is the percentage you see in a can of. Yes, now you see maybe a can of, let's say cider, apple cider is 4% perhaps, or whiskey, which is 40%. So that percentage, when you multiply it by the volume you've taken in liters. So volume, let's say you've taken 500 mils of vodka, so that's 40% multiplied by 500 mils divided by 1,000, because now it should be in liters. So that gives you the number of units you've taken. Okay. Yeah, so that's how you calculate a unit.
Yeah, also
so when you go, so in a day, rather, it should be 3 to 4 units for a male and 2 to 3 for a female. So when you go over and above that in a day or in one sitting, then now you start getting those symptoms.
And a unit is roughly 25 ml. So 14 units roughly 350 ml. and 21 is roughly 500 ml. So 500, that is about 2 bottles for men, and about 1.5
bottles
of beer.
Yes.
About 2 bottles of beer for a month.
Beer has a lesser water. So what if it's whiskey now? Shots.
About a glass. But the tots, maybe 1 or 2 tots, because they are highly concentrated.
Yeah, because
a glass of wine per week.
Hadi wasikia and then tot number 6.
Yes.
Wanasema it's a problem. Okay, so then I guess the other thing is what I talked about, and I saw a lot of that in terms of the questions. Before we take the questions, by the way, the question of the day is this: do you have any questions around alcohol consumption? For example, I've given you there how much is too much. If you have any other questions, you can talk to us using the hashtag Daybreak. The SMS line is 22422. We're gonna share your questions with the doctors here, and then they'll answer them, of course. The other question is tumeambiwa sawa. Usikule. Ukule kabla ukunywe. But then again, there is the combination of the foods that then becomes a problem, I guess, over a long period of time. Like, for example, people have complained about meat, beef rather, nyama choma, and beer over time causing problems. Maybe you can talk about that.
You see, alcohol, later on, it also raises the uric acid levels in your system.
Okay.
And similarly, things like beef also have a lot of uric acid levels. So if you do a lot of meat and a lot of alcohol, it's not that good to your health, because chances of uric acid getting higher than normal that can affect your body is very high. And this can easily interfere with the normal control of uric acid levels, because it will be too much than the level required at a go.
Yes.
So what will happen is you have higher chances of getting diseases such as arthritis and so many more. Yes, headaches, on and off headache, joint pains, and so much. So I wouldn't really advise taking red meat and alcohol. And then the other thing, we have the acetyl, the byproducts are more carcinogenic in nature. So similar to some of the byproducts in meat. So chances of cancer, and mostly colon cancer, become so high with that combination of that product.
Right.
And that's why we advise, when you take alcohol, do not go on an empty stomach. Apart from that, tend to rehydrate yourself. If you take a glass of alcohol, take a glass of water. And this tend to help in movement of alcohol in your system, and also removing the waste, okay? And apart from that, also tend to take a bit of foods, let's say like, you see the ginger.
Right.
You can do the ginger and some brown sugar, because you see that is why the hangover comes in, because it deprives the energy in your system. So that tends to remove the hangover.
Some people, that's a whole other thing. People do hangover, maji mingine, soda.
Yeah, so the sodas, maybe it's just because of the sugar, but it doesn't really treat hangover. Similar to this, the fizzy drinks, the caffeinated drinks, they don't really, and in fact, they can even cause more dehydration to your system. So some people talk of the fatty food and all that. Too much of everything is dangerous. It is only that the fat will just control with talk of the water component, right? Of how the carbon dioxide and then the components of alcohol move through your blood through water. So it just diffuses that a little bit by reducing digestion, but doesn't really mean it will help, because too much intake of fat will also not be good for you.
Right.
Yes. And yes.
Okay. So then the question then becomes, how do I know I have a problem, or I have some symptoms of a disease, especially that affects the liver, that's related to my alcohol intake?
So now that comes to the bit of the symptoms that one can present with.
Right.
So generally, the general symptoms that one can have is malaise and fatigue, feeling tired, general body weakness. And then let me just divide them in terms of systems. In the digestive system, you can have nausea and vomiting. You can have right upper quadrant pain. You can have a swelling, because when it's extreme, you can now have hepatomegaly, now that swelling of the liver, or splenomegaly, which is swelling of the spleen. So those are some of the digestive symptoms you can have. And then to a worse spectrum, you can have hepatic encephalopathy. Now that's when it affects your brain, yeah? So you've seen people who are comatose. They've drunk and they're now comatose. So to some extent, it can cause the brain symptoms where you're delirious, you're in a coma state, or you're confused and all that, or having even the tremors. Yeah, so those are some of the symptoms you can present with when you're having liver disease.
Yeah, because there are people who, they like they shake
Yes.
until they have a drink.
So now that is alcohol withdrawal.
Okay.
Yeah, so now that's another aspect. Alcohol withdrawal, which now you present with the tremors, you have anxiety, you have psychomotor agitation, you're agitated until you take a drink. You get even seizures, those who go to the extent of having seizures, sorry. So yeah, the spectrum is large, from mild symptoms all the way to hepatic encephalopathy, which is now brain symptoms and all that, yes.
And how would you know that in Sasa I have a problem? Is it that you're drinking every day? Because they are what they call social drinkers. And I just drink unless I meet up with you and I'm drinking. And then there are those who kama kawaida, it's like the fourth meal of the day. Lazima niingie kukunywa. So how do I know that I have a problem?
I think there's this acronym called the CAGE.
CAGE.
Yeah.
Okay.
So once you start asking yourself if you need to cut down, or if people have asked you to cut down the alcohol intake, and then if every morning when you wake up in the morning, the first thing you're thinking of is taking alcohol. If you've been if you've been asked by people to stop, or if the first thing you think of in the morning is alcohol. So there are those things you look at, basically you assess yourself. And once you tick positive for all those things, then now you know you actually have a problem and you actually need to seek help. Yes, so yeah.
And there's so many, there's another question I saw, and a very popular question, because we've talked about waking up in the morning and sticking for alcohol. Kuna ile watu wanasema kutoa lock ya dawa ya moto ni moto. So how does that work? Is it true that, because you said I think ginger is probably the better cure, I guess, for a hangover. Okay. But there are those who say kutoa lock. Okay. Kunywa ingine mwili izoe.
Okay. Before I answer that, maybe I can just add on top of some of the symptoms. There is something also called jaundice, yellowing of the eyes can happen, ascites, accumulation of fluids, and so many more. So there are several symptoms. But now kutoa lock with alcohol, you get that? We talk of when alcohol is now metabolized, we have now the acetate and then the acetic oxide, right? Then we have other byproducts, which are chemicals that are harmful, that causes the hangover. Now, what happens is when you take a tot, it induces now the methanol with the metabolized methanol inside your system. Then these tend now to bind the waste before they cause the hangover and removes it. That's why I could a tot. But it shouldn't be something you should be used to on, because it will be not good, how do I say it? Practice. Because if you used to taking, then you'll be even taking more for your system. It's not a good practice. Yes, it does help in removing the waste and the byproducts of the metabolized alcohol through the methanol. But too much is also not good for you.
Too much is also dangerous. The other thing that other questions, or rather, I don't know if they're myths or what, they say, and people even quote the Bible in this, a little wine for thy stomach's sake. So is it true that wine inasaidia digestion or something like that?
You see,
I think
you see, actually, alcohol has a little benefit, but the disadvantage is more worse than the benefits that it has. Because one, for people with mood swing, which it can still cause you a mood swing, but you'll be happy for a moment, you see. Apart from that, it also it's a blood thinner in a way. So it thins blood, and for that it can control the bad cholesterol. It's called low density lipoprotein. It tends to control it in a way, but still. But this
is still taken in moderation.
Yes, in that moderation. But still, because it affects your nerve and function of your heart, it can still cause heart disease. So apart from that, wine is produced from different fruit, right? And several natural fruits which have different vitamins that are good for your body. So it will just speed up the rate of digestion. But apart from that, too much of it, we said, will also irritate the stomach lining. So it should be a notion that we put that it helps in digestion, but it only speed up the digestive tract, but can still have a disadvantage. So let's not use that part of the Bible to make alcohol pure than thou. Yes.
That's, I think, the part of the Bible a lot of people a lot of people know. Yeah, somebody said, okay, I don't, and somebody here says that what does kupiga kakota flash do to your liver? Like taking, I guess, taking too much at once. What does it do to your liver?
Yeah, so again, it all goes back to the unit. That flash you've umepiga, what alcohol have you taken? Have you taken whiskey? Have you taken brandy? Have you taken rum? What's the percentage in that? Yeah, and what volume have you taken? So if the units are still within the required normal, then usually nothing much. And as you mentioned, if you've eaten at that time, the effect would not be as much. And also mixing it with carbonated drinks, because most of the time you find that when you're checking, people are taking alcohol, they'll mix it with maybe soda or any other fizzy drink. That actually increases the absorption of alcohol. So that will actually increase. So it depends with the scenario.
That's a good thing and a bad thing.
It's actually, if you want, to increase the highness or to get drunk faster, if that is your aim, then it's a good thing for you, because now it increases the absorption, so you get the high effect more quickly.
What about those who mix it with sugary stuff like juice?
So if it's not a carbonated drink, then the absorption is not as much. Yes, yeah.
But I wouldn't say I wouldn't really advise to mix with sugary things, because you see, both alcohol and sugar, apart from that, the liver plays a very major role in metabolizing.
Right.
And mixing them with sugary things can cause more harm to the liver, because excessive carbohydrates, apart from uptake, is also stored as fat in the liver. So, and we said one of the complications of the liver can also be alcohol-induced fatty liver, right? That can occur. So you are posing more higher chances of getting a fatty liver disease. So I would say as less as non-sugary things as possible. Like people who use lemons is good, but despite it can irritate your stomach if you use too much. But it's good because one of when someone has alcohol withdrawal and is admitted, one of the IV medication they're given is high vitamin C dose, right? So high vitamin C dose and a bit of B complex, just to tend to act as an antioxidant by protecting the liver cells and also bringing much of the nutrients to detoxify. So a bit of lemon will work for me rather than the sugary things, because it also helps to protect your liver cells and also prevent that oxidative stress in your liver than the sugary things. Yes, but a glass, a flash, as the doctor has said, if you're within the units, is fine. And that's why we have said just monitor not a glass more than a glass of whiskey, or 1 or 3 bottles of beer, or a glass of wine for a woman, or 2 glasses of wine for a man. But don't do it on an empty stomach. So moderation is key, moderation is key. And if you take too much every single day, then chances of having liver cirrhosis is high. And one of the reasons of preventing liver cirrhosis is just stop alcohol. But if you have liver cirrhosis and it's the inflammation, right?
Yes.
If you have inflammation of the liver or liver cirrhosis, and you continue drinking alcohol, and the studies show that 50% who continue drinking alcohol do not last for more than 5 years.
Wow.
So you end up where you die. Yes.
That's the extreme part of it.
Yes.
Right, we have to take some questions here. Some of you that are asking based on the question of the day, we have some SMSs that have come in. Let's take a look at them in a short while as we take them. All right, let's see. This is some SMSs here. This is, a viewer, you didn't have a name. So is there a treatment to manage hands shaking and the urge to take alcohol?
So once you have hands shaking, that is tremors, so that means you're having alcohol withdrawal. And one of the treatments of alcohol withdrawal is there are drugs we call the benzodiazepines, so which try to treat some of those symptoms of alcohol withdrawal. So the treatment is normally the benzodiazepine. So you normally need to see a doctor. You go to a hospital, and the doctor will prescribe those drugs to you. Yes, so that's one of the symptoms, how you manage them.
All right,
yes.
So you can get that treatment. Is it very healthy after taking nyama to take a flash of 250 ml of spirit alcohol to enhance digestion, Dr. Felix?
I think once in a while, once will not affect your system, okay?
Right.
But if you have to do this daily, and we say the harmful is much on the uric acid, most likely. Yes, so it will be more harmful to you, and the carcinogens will be high that can pose you to cancers and severely, and among other things. So once in a while, the body will be able to control. But every day of this, like those who take every day, yes, it's not that healthy for you. Yes.
Yeah.
So better. What I would advise, it's better if you want your nyama, then do it either 2 hours. 2 or 3 hours before you go take your alcohol, that will be okay, because at least the body will be able to control that much of the effect, and then a lot of water thereafter. That will be beneficial to you.
Right. Remind me to talk about the water aspect, because I have a question about that.
Okay.
Next question. Please address methanol toxicity. What causes blindness and death in illicit brews?
So when it comes to methanol toxicity, it means nowadays too much of the methanol in your blood system. Right. So it means you're not being able to metabolize or to break down the toxic, which is methanol. So too much of it in the body now will definitely, high levels of it will cause the toxicity, will cause blindness. First of all, methanol is not, there's a difference between ethanol and methanol. Ethanol is what we have in the usual drinks, the beers. So methanol is a bit more, the percentages, first of all, it's much higher.
Like the changas.
Yes, the changas. Yes. It's very much high, and also the breaking down of it is a bit more complex. And if you have a deficiency of the enzyme, or if you do not have the enzyme that can help you break down the methanol, then toxicity will definitely result. So it's advisable to avoid the methanol, which is very high in percentage, and at least just stick to the ethanol, which is a bit,
What about the, before you go to the next one, sorry, not the illicit, the traditional brews, the moratinas, the, what do you call the one in the coast layer, coconut? What about those ones?
So in terms of,
like,
are they okay to drink?
Yes, and the levels, the quantities of.
Yeah, it all comes.
Or it depends on preparation.
And what I would say also really is, maybe just to add on that, you see, for the brews or different types of alcohol we have in the market, they are already satisfied by either cabs or anything to be good for your health. And you see, they have the percentage of alcohol in them, but these local brews, you won't easily know the percentage of either ethanol that are in them. It can be too high than what is required, and that shocks the liver, and that's why some people take and they have the blindness that you, because the levels are very high, and they can never even have both of methanol and ethanol together. So you see, it will affect you so much. And that's why we advise take those that have already been satisfied, unlike taking what you don't know the percentage and the component that it has, because the different chemical that can be there when it's being formulated that can easily affect your health.
Right. Basically, another question here. Doreen is asking, you said for a lady it should be 14 units a week. What if I take more than 14 units in one occasion, and then I go for several weeks without taking alcohol? Will that be okay?
So 14 units, yes, is what you should take within a week. And 14 minutes should be spread over a week. It should not be binge drinking. It should not be drinking in one sitting.
So binge drinking is that one where you just...
Binge drinking is in one sitting, you take the 14 units at once, or that continuous drinking in one sitting, So if you take the 14 units in one sitting, it's very different from taking it over a spread period of time. Because now it means you're causing more injury to the liver at that particular moment. You're increasing more toxins into the liver, you're causing injury, that goes to inflammation, and it can even give you a fatty liver at that moment. So giving your liver or taking alcohol volumes in very large units at one sitting is definitely going to cause effects or injuries.
So even if you, like she's saying, unakunywa moja alafu unasema...
No. The effect is there and there. It does not spread over. But if you drink the alcohol over a spread period of time, that is what is required. The 14 minutes.
All right. The next question is Ngeno from Kisumu Prisons. Says, does alcohol have any importance to the body? I think you talked about some of the... A bit. Silva Mula says, sometimes after getting drunk, you may find yourself vomiting. What might be the reason?
You'll answer that, Doc?
You can answer it.
The vomiting are much on the side effects of alcohol. And as we said, it's just much of the side effects of the hangover itself that now can cause the nausea, it can cause the vomiting, it can cause the headache. It's just the byproduct of alcohol that now causes the hangover, that causes the side effects. So that will only happen if, let's say, you have taken alcohol that has a higher percentage of the the, what were you saying?
Ethanol.
The ethanol, yeah. So higher percentage, and you've taken too much of it, then the hangover can come up. And they say you can take the non-steroid anti-inflammatory painkillers, but there are some which are not also good for you for the hangovers. So you should really are there, so that you don't drink ufungue to you want to frustrate the villagers. They know that you have come. Like now it's Christmas. You want to tell them you have the money. No, just to make you happy, but not for too much.
That comes with another question here. That marriage is a question from Edu Okema, who says, mbona nikikunywa huwa nasahau kila kitu yenye ilifanyika. Is there a relation with something like
yes, with memory? Yes. So drinking too much can, as I had said, on the severe spectrum, can cause things like memory loss or short-term memory. Yes, so it's all a matter of how much have you taken and what's the percentage of what you've taken. So yes, definitely it can cause memory losses or memory lapses or even blacking out, because now the level has exceeded what you're supposed to take in that particular moment. So yes, memory losses do occur.
So what causes now? Because like that also happens. Unaenda na watu club out kuhula jama na kunya then boom, blacks out. Like at that point, what has happened? What
has happened is your level has increased more than your body is able to metabolize at that moment. As he mentioned, there are those enzymes that are able to metabolize the alcohol. So if you've taken more than your able is able to metabolize at that moment, the levels have gone higher than is usual. So then that leads to toxicity. And if it's toxic, then now you'll definitely black out. The levels are exceeding the usual the usual metabolism of the body. So yes, that will lead to blacking out and all that. And also,
yes.
And you, for him to have memory loss, meaning he has been taking alcohol for a very long time, because it can't happen in a single time. So I would advise him to go slow. That would be the best advice for him.
Yes.
And then the other thing is just let him just try to go slow on it. Yes.
All right, go slow. My brother, what was your name? Edu. Go slow. Edward Samuel of Kaloreni is saying, nikunywa chupa ngapi ya normal beer sasa? I am scared. Mumemshtua. Yes.
Yeah, so as I had mentioned earlier, so for a man, the normal, at least 3 to 4 beers. Yeah, if it's beer, because beer has 4%, so that gives you 3 to 4 units. Yes.
So 3 to 4. You scare Edward, Southern Edward.
The genes also play a role.
And genes.
There are people, you see, there are people who don't like alcohol. It's not that they don't want to like it. It's their genetical makeup. So there are some people who don't have much of the hormone, the alcohol, dehydrogenase, and acetaldehyde, dehydrogenase. So when they take alcohol, it interferes with their system. Like so they just don't want it. So gene also plays a role. So if you feel like your system don't want it, usijifose. Wachilia tu. Usijifanye bazu.
Bazuni moja. All right, well, keep asking your questions also on Twitter. The hashtag is Daybreak. We're still gathering them as well. And then and also on 2-2-4-2, we still have about maybe 10 minutes to go. So people always advise also to kind of space it out in terms of as you're drinking, to take water. Why is that important in the middle of the whole thing?
Yeah, so as you space it out or as you take it in moderation or in small amounts, you're at least also allowing your body to be able to take in and metabolize it in portions or in small parts. So as he mentioned, the alcohol dehydrogenase, there are those who don't have it at all. So it means if you take alcohol, you get something called the sulfiram effects. So you start, it's like you're reacting against the alcohol. You vomit, you get all those symptoms, So if you have less amount of the enzyme in your body, it means if you take a lot of alcohol at once, the symptoms come more quickly.
Right.
So once you separate the intake in small portions or over a period of time, you're allowing your body also to metabolize. Remember, our bodies also, they need to be taken, they're machines, so you need to take them in a manner that, so to allow the metabolism to go on in the required process.
Right, so you space it out and basically ukunywe in moderation. Hiyo ni Wakenya wapende kusikia kabisa.
The water won't affect the alcohol composition. So don't think, oh, it will reduce my highness. No, it just control it slowly by slowly. So we say at least in between it's good.
So for those people who peer in Afrikanga, there's a practical examples. Okay, sasa wacha kukunywa, we kunywa maji sasa. How does that help?
I think the in-between works much better than the after. Yeah, the in and between. That's why even mixing alcohol with water is even much better than using other carbonated drinks or sweetened drinks. It will be much helper. Yeah.
All right. So at the beginning, we talked about different liver diseases. Maybe you can explain to us the different ones, the cirrhosis and the other ones that you mentioned as well.
Okay, so liver diseases, it's a whole spectrum. We have the liver cirrhosis. So the other causes of liver disease other than alcohol. So alcohol is one of the causes, under toxins. Other toxins that can cause liver diseases are drugs that are used to treat TB, that is the pyrazinamide, isoniazid, rifampicin. Others are even paracetamol. Paracetamol, when taken in a very high quantity, which people actually do take for suicidal attempts, can cause liver injuries. So that is toxins. Also aflatoxins. You find that people who stay in the village store their grains in the granaries. Right. Yeah, so aflatoxins can also cause liver injuries. And there is a mushroom called the aphalloides mushroom, which has toxins as well. So that's all under toxins. Then there's infections. We have things like hepatitis B, C, D, all those, and even A. So although the viruses can also cause liver diseases, we have autoimmune diseases of the liver that can still cause liver disease. We have genetic diseases like hematochromatosis, that is deposition of iron in the liver. We have Wilson's disease, deposition of copper in the liver. Yes, the spectrum is quite huge. You have acute fatty liver disease. Yes, the fatty liver disease. So that
one is based on alcohol intake.
There's alcoholic fatty liver disease and non-alcoholic fatty liver disease.
So the alcoholic one, what happens?
Alcoholic one now is the one, it's the alcohol causing. So meaning once you take the alcohol, it causes inflammation. There's the lipid peroxidation, there's oxidative stress. So all that causes production of fatty acids and triglycerides, which are deposited in the liver. So now once that is deposited in the liver, now you start having buildup of fat cells in the liver. Right. Yes, so that is fatty liver disease. Yes.
All right, so that we give people some hope. What are some of the things you can do to, to have, to even diet and nutrition wise to help your liver?
So helping your liver, one, you need amino acids. So amino acids are a building block of proteins. So how to manage one who is a heavy drinker and one who is not a drinker, it's completely different, because if you're a heavy drinker and you are already known to have liver cirrhosis or alcohol-induced liver hepatitis, whereby it's inflammation of liver, cirrhosis is now the cells are degenerated or inflamed, and then the fatty liver. Once you have those liver issues, then the management becomes different. Now we won't give you the high protein food, but we'll give you the specific amino acid prescription as a supplement, so that the liver is able to uptake them and regenerate the liver. Apart from that, you need antioxidants, and mostly these are of vitamin C. So things like fruits like oranges, papaya, watermelon, these are very good for your liver. Apart from that, we have also talked of water, and to help control the liver, tend to avoid anything that can inflame it more by taking too much fatty food, because liver also produces the bile. The bile used to help in digestion of fat. So if you take more of the fatty food and you already have liver issues, then the production will tend to inflame the liver more. So reduce much of the fat in food. And then apart from that, there are also some stimulants such as coffee, caffeinated drink, too much tea. We tend also to reduce them.
Too much tea.
Too much tea also. Tea is also a mild stimulant. Yeah. So concentrated tea, things like that. And then sugar, because the liver and the pancreas are a bit related. So we said too much excessive glucose is stored in the liver as fat. So if you take too much of the sugary food, you'll affect the liver more. And there are those who are alcoholic also. They tend not to absorb a nutrient called vitamin B12 mostly. They're lower in this vitamin. So the levels can be checked, And if they're low, then you can be given supplement, or you are told to take foods rich in it, and things like fish, anti-inflammatory, that prevent the inflammation because there is already inflammation. And this comes from the omega-3 fatty acid. The omega-3 fatty acids naturally come from the flax seeds, the chia seeds, that are also anti-inflammatory and anti-cancer. And apart from that, they also come from cod liver oil, things like that. So different types of vitamins are rich in vegetables, have almost vitamin A, C, and all of them. Then we have proteins like fish, which has both of the omega-3, the flax seeds, and all that. So generally, I would say the management will differ depending on the person, on the liver. The state of the liver will differ according to the management. And that's why I say, if it is worse, then you can even be given intravenous vitamin C and B complex. So the management will be different, and that's why we advise, if you want to stop drinking alcohol, you can come, we'll take you to our counselors. We have very good counselors. We'll counsel you, and then the doctor will check you up, check the liver enzyme, whereby the test they do is the blood test. We can have x-rays, we can have ultrasound, we can have several. And this can only be done in hospital to check if your liver is okay.
Well. Yes.
So visit on hospital if you're a heavy drinker to just check on your liver functions, so that you know where you are and be treated.
And there are people who say heavy drinker is relative, but it's okay. Lawrence LKY asked a question that we already answered. Yeah, you said blood thinner, digestion is C. Can you state one benefit of alcohol? I think Lawrence is looking for an excuse to keep on drinking.
No, the excuse should not be there.
But like you said, it is interesting because they have benefits, no doubt, but the side effects outweigh the benefits. Engineer Lazaro says, my brother can only be productive in his workplace when he's drunk. I can't understand why. Is that what you're
so
about?
Now that is the alcohol dependence, or alcohol, that's someone now who's dependent on alcohol, meaning he can't function, or it's affecting his daily activities, his obligations at work, at home as well. So once it comes to that point, it means you're dependent on alcohol. So what we call alcohol abuse, or alcohol abuse disorder. So that means he needs to see a psychiatrist, he needs to see a counselor, he needs to be under medication as well. So psychotherapy, psychomedication, and all that. So that means that is not normal. You need to be medicated and you need to be treated for that.
All right. We have Eric_Machakos. What is the effect of taking alcohol and smoking at the same time?
The effect is even more worse. Because you see, we say the alcohol impair your brains, impair your digestive tract, the kidneys, your liver. Now, with the smoking, now it will impair your lungs again, impair your nerves and general arteries, okay? And even high chances of blood clots. So the effect is even more worse than doing one.
Right.
Yeah, so when you combine cigarette, you combine alcohol, namogoka, and mira, is even now more worse.
Yeah, things are crazy. So as you're celebrating, please be careful. Opembe, kumix na majimoto, is it fine? Ama ni direct injection? Does the temperature change anything?
I don't think the temperature has any effect. Yeah.
Okay.
Not much, but the only, I would say, in digestion, you see, the body is under warm temperature. So things that are warmer are uptaken much faster than things that are not warmer. And you see, when you take it with the water, it's only that the water component, but there is not much difference. Yes, not much difference.
Direct injection. Fonda Mariakani, is it true that if you take oily food such as chips and fish, it makes the DDO stable, the daily drinking officer stable? That ukikula chips and all the fatty foods as well, ataka unakunywa every day, you'll be stable. Is that true?
You won't be stable, but we just said that fat generally just controls the metabolism of alcohol. So it will be a bit slower than normal, but we say there is also danger of taking too much of fatty food. So everything is just moderation.
Moderation is the key.
Yes.
Do you have another one? Yes, Vic_. I lost my mother to liver cirrhosis and my brother is addicted too. I can't afford rehab at the moment. It kills me watching him fade away. Are there government-sponsored rehabs? I'm told those available are expensive. Are there government-sponsored? Do you know of government-sponsored rehabs?
I know that Mathare Hospital does offer rehab services.
Okay.
It is not free, but the prices are very subsidized. So I think the common Wananchi would be able to afford. So there's Mathare Hospital, there's Mathare also in Nyeri, and I think also Thika Thika Level 5 has some rehabilitation facilities. So governmental rehab facilities are there. They're not completely cheap, but the prices are subsidized, so people will be able to afford. Yes.
All right, so we do hope, Vic, Anaska, we do hope that you get help, and sorry for the loss of your mother, you said, yes, and for the troubles you're going through. Hopefully you'll get some help as well. And I think, I'm not sure, but you can go to Kenyatta National Hospital as well. There's a time, I don't know if they're running it for that period or for now, where even they have, just for yourself, if you need therapy, you can go and get some therapy for that as well. All right, so of course there's so many other questions to hear on my Facebook, some online, but now I leave them to you. So I'll leave you guys to say, where can people find you, either your social media or hospitals where you're at? So
so myself, Dr. Warwe, I work in Mata, Mata Hospital, currently based in the Karen branch, the Well. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
So go and ask for Dr. Warwe. All right.
As usual. Now, by the way, McQueen wana wine, sugar cane wine.
Yes.
So take with precaution. so Felix Okoth is a nutritionist, and you can find me at Mata Hospital. At Mata, I'm always mobile. Mobile meaning I move within several clinics. So South B, Buruburu Clinic, Shujamal Clinic, even the current clinic. So generally getting me in Mata is not a specific place. So calling will be much better, because depending on where I am, so that we book a one-on-one. And remember one thing, I always say check up. Like we say, if you have liver issues, there is the only way you'll know that your liver has a problem is check up. So go for a check up, and we'll welcome you in any of our medical centers or even our main branch. Our services are very well controlled and affordable, despite the name that we have. Our name is big as a product, but our services are very affordable.
Right.
Yes.
All right. Well, I tell you what, you can find them there. I know we've when you talk about this, people make fun of it a lot, but there are actually people who are going through some serious problems when it comes to drinking. It's fun, it's good to socialize. You're probably going to do a lot of it during this festive season. December imeanza, I know you're planning. Kuna budget, ushaweka ya pombe. But as you do so, do it in moderation, do it. Eat at least to minimize some things. Eat before you take alcohol. Kunya na maji katikati. Don't drink and drive. I mean, we know the rules. Ni vile tu, we like to push the envelope kidogo. And if this season, yeah, let's try to be a little bit careful so that come January isikuwe ni uphill task. Sasa tafuta Dr. Warwe na Dr. Felix. Wewe niliharibu, nisaidieni. Yeah, but you can find them at Mata. In case you can't find them, you can always reach out to me. I'll put you in touch with them so that you get the help that you need. Is very important. Yes sir. Tuonane kesho. Kesho is another day where tunafinyanga hapa, tunafinya asubuhi. See you tomorrow. Tomorrow is also a big day. Manchester United is facing Arsenal.
Today is World.
And today is World HIV Day.
Yes.
Yeah, so please get tested. You can get yourself test kits kama utaki scrutination and thing. Usingoje tu ati wakati ya ndoa ndo sasa mnaenda ile mandatory HIV test. Test as often as you can, especially if you know, yes, una press sana, uko na a lot of activity. Keep yourself healthy as well. So as we celebrate it again, our appeal, of course, to the government, keep on making some of these things. You've seen the question there. People are asking for things to be a bit more subsidized. So as we ask for money, zingine pia ziende kwa kusaidia wa Kenya health sector. Peace and love. Mungu awabariki sana.